I tell my lady all the time is, look, conflict is inevitable. Our goal is to get better at resolving it with each other. Because a new problem is always going to arise as long as the earth is spinning. Conflicts are going to come. They're going to rise. You know what I mean? We have to get better at facing that fire together.
This person proposes to me, wants to build a life with me, has me move my life out here, cheats on me. I find out, continuously is telling me that he doesn't want that life, he wants me, then proceeds to be out with people. And yes, I have my receipts. I have my receipts, but you guys will know who this is, and I don't want this to be a confusion any longer. There's no podcast he can get on, sweet talking the world. It's over with.
You guys, we made it this far. We're still married.
How many times have you guys thought, oh my goodness, this was a mistake?
I've never thought that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that like every single year.
Yeah. What part of it was a mistake?
Oh, all of it. Just every part of it.
There's a lot going on social media. I know you're all busy individuals, but we need to address something again. If you haven't heard about it yet, or even know who they are, New York hip-hop rapper Joey Bada and actress Serayah McNeil, known for her role as Tiana on Empire, called off their engagement after 3 years of dating because of cheating. The good old cheating men that never stop. And I'm not making this video specifically to talk about Joey Bada and Serayah. I actually noticed a pattern here that I want to talk about because I keep seeing it repeatedly. How is marriage somehow a bigger commitment to some people than having a baby? Like, genuinely. You can create an entire human being with somebody. You're biologically connected to this person for the rest of your life. And yet marriage is where people stop and think, whoa. That's a big commitment. Does that make any sense to you? Couples who have discussed not wanting to be married but having a child are not irresponsible because that was a decision that was communicated. What I'm referring to in the video is the pattern. Sometimes people never actually intend to marry you. They just like the access they have to you. In the case of Joey Bada, you could argue, but he actually engaged her. Yes, he did. That's right. But there are also some men who give you the ring because they want to keep you there. They keep your hopes high and they want you to believe that marriage is coming, while deep down, they have absolutely no intention of actually doing it. I think this is what you could call man trapping, or in some cases, woman trapping. Men can trap women with babies because they want to dim her light, keep access to her, or if she's more financially stable than him, potentially benefit financially from her. And women can do it too. Some women will target financially stable men, have a child with them because they know the father will potentially have financial obligations toward that child, and then leave once they secure the bag. So this whole thing of people finessing each other through relationships and children happens way more than it ever has. And it's sickening, because then I started thinking about marriage itself. Historically, marriage wasn't always this legal thing where the government was heavily involved in your relationship. In many cultures, it was much more of a traditional or family promise. And then over time, especially in Western worlds, legal marriage became connected to financial benefits, taxes, inheritance, social status, all of these things. But overall, the man benefited more than the woman, because historically, women were also far more respected socially if they had a husband. Which is ironic because this was also a time when patriarchy was at its peak, and women were often treated like property. Thankfully, things aren't that extreme anymore, but there's still a social difference between being a woman who had a child within a marriage and being labeled a baby mama. And whether we like it or not, people know that. We just choose to pretend we don't. There's still a stigma attached to being the woman who has a man's child without having that commitment from him. At the same time, patriarchy has declined significantly in the Western world. Feminism has become much more prominent, and women are more financially independent than ever. Women are more likely to stay single and support themselves financially. They don't necessarily need a man to survive anymore, and they're also more open about their sexuality and what they want from life. And is all of that a good thing or a bad thing? The decline of patriarchy has benefits, the rise of feminism has benefits. But at the same time, the traditional family picture is also dissolving in the Western world. And that brings me back to what I'm actually trying to understand here. Because to me, it's not even necessarily about marriage. It's about the fact that people have children together and then suddenly they break up. And this happens with unmarried couples and married couples. You hear, oh, they just had a baby, and then 6 months later, oh, they got divorced or they broke up. Like, what happened? And I wonder why. My theories are, Either the man no longer finds the woman attractive after she gives birth. It could also be because the woman is postpartum, emotionally overwhelmed, maybe depressed, and the entire dynamic inside the home changes. After all, the mother is the powerhouse. Another theory is that some men wanted to produce offspring and believed that having a child together would give them some kind of permanent access to the woman. Or maybe it is because the woman finally realized what an immature man she committed to. Another reason could be the good old infidelity route some men love to take. And we know that some men love cheating during pregnancy. Especially pregnancy, yes. Okay, so my last theory is that the couple simply never had the same values to begin with, and having a child just exposed it. I think multiple things can be true at once. You never really know why a relationship fails until you actually have that conversation. But the signs are often there. People communicate through their actions all the time. And sometimes we choose to give our partner the benefit of the doubt because we desperately want the relationship to work. And then later we realize, oh, they showed me who they were. Still, this whole make a baby and then suddenly break up pattern is just weird to me. And people just normalize this now. Maybe part of it is that some men generally cannot handle the fact that women are more independent than ever. Women don't necessarily need a man to survive anymore. And you see a bunch of men online literally yearning for patriarchy again. But I'm thinking about it differently. If you're a respectable man, you take care of your woman, you provide, you treat her with grace and respect, you stay loyal, I'm pretty sure there are women out there who are perfectly willing to build a traditional relationship with you. Just with a modern twist. She probably still works or wants to get to work. Maybe you do some of the traditionally female tasks and she does some of the traditionally male tasks. Who cares? There can be harmony. But the most important thing is mutual respect and shared values. That is what matters. Of course, there are also women who exaggerate. There are women who generally have a good man standing right in front of them and still destroy the relationship because they're greedy, unhealed, or simply don't appreciate what they have. Those women exist too. I'm not going to sit here and pretend they don't. There was a comment I read where someone said, the good women are with the men who don't want them, the good men are with the women who don't want them, and the good women and men unfortunately don't find each other. And I remember thinking they are so right, because that seems to be what happens. The people who actually want something healthy somehow keep missing each other, and it doesn't seem to stop. Unfortunately, I don't have a magical solution to this problem. Everyone's situation is different. And I'm not a mother nor a baby mother, so I'm not going to pretend that I'm the ultimate authority on motherhood or co-parenting. But I do want to analyze why this pattern might consistently be happening. I think society needs to stop condoning certain behavior and start to condemn some of it. We need to stop normalizing men who impregnate women and then decide they're done, leaving the woman alone with the child and refusing to take responsibility. But we also need to stop normalizing women becoming pregnant without thinking about the possibility that the man might not be there. That stuff happens a lot, and both parties have responsibility. Some men will tell you a whole bunch of BS like, I want to give you the world, I'm going to be a present father, you're my one and only, I'll never cheat again, blah blah blah. And I have heard plenty of stories about men literally manipulating women into feeling safe, heard, and understood because they know exactly what to say. And some men are very good at lying. It's actually sickening. So I do understand why some women fall into these situations. When you finally feel loved, you're in this euphoric state where your dopamine is rising and you're excitedly thinking about the future. And you don't necessarily want to sit there and analyze every single thing this person does. But you have to. I know it's easier said than done, but at the end of the day, if that man impregnates you and then suddenly leaves, you're left with the baby. And yeah, abortion is an option in some circumstances, and I don't judge women who make that decision, and I don't think that anybody should judge women who do that, because being a mother, especially a mother abandoned by the co-creator of that child, is a sacrifice. It's basically a full-time job. Mothers do and are everything. They're the provider, the chef, the security guard, the general practitioner, the chauffeur, the therapist. You get the idea. They are everything all at once. And before you completely traumatize a child because you never actually wanted to be a mother or because you cannot handle the sacrifice that motherhood requires, I would rather somebody make the difficult decision before bringing a child into a situation they're completely unprepared for. But obviously, the best thing is not even letting it get that far. Because abortion isn't a joke. Also, it shouldn't be treated like some harmless little tool when there are multiple forms of protection available to prevent you from getting to that point in the first place. And especially in the Western world, women have more ability than ever to choose whether or not they want to become mothers. But now, let's get back to these men and the lies. Women really need to be careful. Some male egos are more fragile than ever now that more and more women are becoming successful and financially independent. And that can trigger the hell out of insecure men. Some of them want to break a woman who is on top by getting her pregnant, leave her, or abuse her. And that's a new thing we got going on. I'm not only looking at this from a woman's perspective because even a man came out and talked about this issue. And I'm showing you this because parts of what he says literally illustrate the exact dynamic that I'm talking about. The contradiction between wanting access to women, wanting their loyalty, children with them, but then not wanting the responsibility, respect, or commitment that comes with it. So listen to this.
Something is deeply wrong with the heterosexual men. They hate women. They want the woman to cook for them, clean for them, have sex with them, but they don't want to respect them. They don't want to provide for them. They don't want to be loyal to them. And we can't say these men are gay undercover because gay men are loyal to women. They love women. They compliment women. They're always around women, but something's deeply wrong with the conscious mind or the subconscious mind of the heterosexual man. And then you allow these women to have your children, and then you scream you hate them, and then you leave them, and then you don't provide for them, and then you get older, and then you go after a woman half your age, and then you break that woman, and then when she gets to the age around 29 to 35, you call her bitter and ran through because you chose a young woman that trusted you, maybe because she had father issues, and you broke her. You men hate women. But you want these women to have your children. You want them to be 100% loyal to you. And then you start to complain about providing. And then you tell a woman she should meet me where I'm at. What the heck is wrong with you men? You men deep down in your subconscious mind have been programmed to hate women.
See, that is exactly the type of contradiction I'm talking about. Not every heterosexual man hates women, but majority, because most of them are insecure now. Do you know, however, what the worst part about all of this is? The children are watching you. They don't just learn from what you tell them, they learn from what their parents do. If a boy watches his father disrespect his mother, cheat on her, abandon her, or treat her like she's disposable, that is the example of a man he grows up with. And then he grows up and potentially repeats it. And the cycle continues. However, I want to mention, I don't think every man who breaks up with a woman after a baby is born is evil. If you don't want to be with the woman anymore, but you're respectful to her, you take care of your child, you're actively involved in their life, and you do your part as a father, okay, we're good. Relationships end. That's life. But the men who never intended to stay, couldn't care less about the child, expect the woman to do everything or only show up when it's convenient for themselves, those men are a menace. And there are enough of them. And then you have the mentality of, if I can't have the woman, I don't care about my own child. What? That is your child. Your child is not a punishment for the fact that the relationship didn't work out. But as I mentioned earlier, there are also women who baby trap men to exploit them financially. You see that case often with rich athletes, as an example. So everybody's trying to play everybody. But personally, I do think it can be particularly damaging when a man does it to a woman because we're still living in a society where women can earn less than men for the same profession, where women are still often financially disadvantaged in certain situations, and then you have a man intentionally exploiting that vulnerability. That is nuts. Ultimately, I think all I can really say is this. Ladies, don't believe the lies, follow your intuition, watch his actions, not just his words, and most importantly, use protection. Double protection even. And only you decide when you're ready to have a child. Don't do him that favor just because he tells you he loves you. And especially don't bring a child into the world based purely on promises from somebody you haven't seen demonstrate those promises through his actions. And to the toxic mendom out there, please, just do better. Stop playing around. These children shouldn't have to suffer because you're immature, you want to keep the game moving, or you want continuous access to the mother of your child. That's stupid, immature, and disgusting. Shame on all of you who do that. And thank you to the women and men whose priority is the children even after the relationship ends. At the end of the day, the relationship or marriage and the love might be over, but the child is still there. And the goal should always be the same: what's best for the child. That is real co-parenting. Now, thank you for watching this video, and peace.